The World Health Organization declares a global health emergency for monkeypox. What this means coming up. Plus, a record number of LGBTQ+ candidates seeking political office this year. A look at some of the candidates and what they seek to accomplish. Also, Germany's largest pride celebration in Berlin turns violent. And the TikTok famous emu makes an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Kind of, we'll explain. Finally, Advocate Editor-in-Chief TRACY E. GILCHRIST talks with Billy Porter and the cast of his new film, Anything's Possible. That's coming up in this edition of Pride Today. Hi, I'm Stephen Walker. The World Health Organization announces the monkeypox outbreak is now a global health emergency, and the virus has the potential to spread to other countries and requires global response. Meanwhile, the United States has not declared MPV a national public health emergency, limiting funding and data collection for now. The Human Rights Campaign praises WHO in a statement saying this designation must serve as an alarm to the public health officials and governments around the world that combating monkeypox is a top priority. It is critical to rapidly increase testing capacity and vaccine distribution in order to reach communities most impacted by the virus, particularly gay and bisexual men and transgender women, who comprise the majority of current cases. The CDC says there are nearly 3,000 confirmed cases in the US and almost 17,000 confirmed cases in 74 countries globally. The LGBTQ Victory Fund reports that at least 1,008 out candidates are seeking election this year, surpassing the record of 1,006 set in 2020. Candidates in line to make history this year include Maura Healey, who's running for the governor of Massachusetts, Eric Russell, who's up for Connecticut Treasurer, and Zoe Saphir, who's running to seek election as a Montana state representative. Victory Fund's Vice President of Political Programs, Sean Malloy, tells The Advocate there are over 100 more LGBTQ+ people of colour running in 2022 than in 2020, a 58% increase from that year and a 225% increase from 2018. Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, North Carolina, Oregon and Vermont are likely to elect their first out members of the US House. And state legislatures in Minnesota, Montana and Pennsylvania could have their first trans or non-binary members. Saturday's Pride was the 44th Christopher Street Day celebration in Berlin, which honours the Stonewall riots of 1969. And this year's motto, Unite in Love Against Hate, War and Discrimination, with hundreds of thousands turning out. Homophobic attacks were reported after the demonstration through Berlin. A group of 9 made anti-LGBTQ+ comments to 2 16 and 17-year-old girls, along with a 15-year-old boy. It appears the group was offended by the people's clothing, according to a German newspaper. Also, a group of 8 pushed a 32-year-old man to the ground while kicking him in the head and body. A woman who witnessed the attack moved into a position where she was able to stand and offer some protection to the victim, while forcing the attackers to leave.
Emmanuel, no. Don't do it. Emmanuel, do not do it.
Emmanuel the Emu and farmer Taylor Blake stopped by The Tonight Show as they continue to ride their wave of fame. Emmanuel, the TikTok famous emu known for his hilarious, stubborn yet charismatic personality, recently joined Jimmy Fallon on a special cameo on The Tonight Show, or a puppeted version of the emu did. In the late night sketch, Fallon is seen instructing the emu not to peck the camera, reciting the now iconic line, "Emmanuel, don't do it." Then Fallon gets help from Emmanuel's caretaker, South Florida farmer Taylor Blake. Taylor is an out and proud lesbian farmer who started creating content, but it wasn't until Emmanuel took to the screen that the TikTok page blew up. And here's a sit-down interview with Advocate Editor-in-Chief TRACY E. GILCHRIST and the cast of the film Anything's Possible.
First, I will go to Billy. I wonder if you would talk a little bit about what it means to you to put out this really very, in some ways, traditional high school comedy rom-com that centers a trans narrative in which there's a trans character who just really wants to exist and go through all the usual high school things, but is sidelined by some transphobia and some ignorance. And if you would talk a little bit about what that means to you to put this out in the world.
We as artists have the power to change, reach into the hearts and minds of people and change from the inside out.
Yeah.
I made the choice to intentionally focus on that kind of work.
Yeah.
And this piece is an outgrowth of that. And so my hope is that in our aspirational tale of what we feel the world can be and should be, that we can change some hearts and minds.
And Eva, what does it mean to you to be a part of this story where I thought it was really so important that Kelsa continues to say, I don't want my whole life to be about gender. I just, I have other interests and that sort of thing. And I think that's so powerful and important for people to hear. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about what it means to you to tell that story.
Yeah, it means everything. I think what Kelsa really desires most and what a lot of trans kids are wanting is the right to their own autonomy, right? Like people want to just be able to do them on their own terms. And and it's like any person, whether they're trans or cis, there's so much more to you than your gender or even how, or also even how people see your gender. And Kelsa is really just this girl living in Pittsburgh who loves animals, and then she meets a goofball named Call or Abu Bakr, and and she just starts to fall in love. And I hope that every trans kid out there feels that they also have that right. I think something that happens a lot is a lot of young trans kids are forced to advocate for themselves at such an early age, when it's they're just kids, they should be able to just be kids. And that is, that is the same thing that Kelsa wants. She wants to just be able to be Kelsa.